On the morning of January 16, 2006, a Boeing 737 from the American airline Continental Airlines was preparing for takeoff. The plane was scheduled to operate a domestic passenger flight from El Paso to Houston. There were 114 passengers and 5 crew members on board. During the pre-flight inspection conducted by the second pilot on the tarmac, a pool of liquid was discovered under the right engine. The second pilot reported this to the aircraft commander, and they both approached the engines, agreeing that it was likely an oil leak. The commander informed airport personnel about the issue. Shortly afterward, 3 mechanics arrived at the aircraft and began the inspection. They asked the commanders to start the engine to identify the source of the leak, as they determined it was not a static issue. One mechanic positioned inside the engine, another outside, while the third observed the procedure from a distance as part of their training. The engine was started and ran at idle for about 3 minutes while the mechanics conducted an initial check. Then one of them contacted the commander and asked to increase the power to 70% to conduct additional checks. Approximately a minute and a half after reaching the requested power level, the commander felt a jolt and a slight vibration that intensified, followed by the compressor of the engine stopping. Suspecting an issue, the commander switched the engine to idle mode, and the co-pilot stated that something had entered the engine. The engine was immediately shut down. It turned out that it wasn't something, but someone who had entered the engine. A 64-year-old mechanic, along with 2 of his colleagues and a passenger, witnessed him accidentally entering the danger zone and being instantly pulled into the running engine. The National Transportation Safety Board conducted investigations, documented the incident, and took several photographs of its aftermath. The men who entered the engine were literally shredded into the tiniest pieces, which were scattered several meters away. A forensic expert stated that it was impossible to perform an autopsy due to the nature of the incident and the condition of the remains. As a result of the incident, the engine sustained minor damage but was repaired, and the aircraft continued to operate flights. In 2011, it was acquired by another American airline, United Airlines, for 3 years, and in 2014, it was bought by the Nigerian airline Air Peace. The aircraft received a new registration number and a changed paint scheme, and continues to operate flights to this day. Unfortunately, the incident at El Paso Airport was not the only one in aviation history. In May 2006, a similar incident occurred at Harbin Taiping International Airport in China, where a Shanghai Airlines Boeing 737 had a ground crew member accidentally pulled into an engine. In July 2004, a similar incident happened in Russia when a Boeing 737 of Air Astana was being towed. A 26-year-old engineer working for the aviation service tragically got pulled into the engine and was shredded into pieces. However, a person can be sucked into an aircraft engine not only on the ground but also in the air, as was the case in February 1989. At that time, a Boeing 747 operated by United Airlines was on a flight from Los Angeles to Sydney. However, just 16 minutes after takeoff, in the sky over the Pacific Ocean, the aircraft experienced the opening and separation of the cargo hold door in the nose section, along with the detachment of a portion of the fuselage due to explosive decompression. As a result of this incident, 9 passengers were killed when they were ejected from the cabin, along with their seats. It was determined that at least 1 person was pulled into the aircraft's engine, where fragments of human remains and torn clothing were later discovered. Fortunately, the pilots successfully managed to land the damaged aircraft, despite extensive searches that failed to locate the remains of the 9 victims who were ejected from the cabin. In aviation, the occurrence of foreign objects being drawn into aircraft engines is relatively common. These objects can include birds, various debris on runways, and other items. In May 2009, at Los Angeles International Airport, a metal aviation container weighing approximately 80 kilograms was sucked into the engine of a Boeing 747. The vacuum created by the engine's air intake was so strong that it forcibly removed the empty container from a baggage trolley located nearby. Thankfully, due to its large size, the container became lodged in the engine's air intake, preventing it from entering the engine. The flight was subsequently canceled, and passengers were returned to the terminal, while the aircraft was towed to a hangar for inspection.